Okay, so we've got our after image sorted hopefully, so it's time to create the dash module script itself. So if we go into our modules dash folder and open up the dash script in Visual Studio, we'll start adding some variables. Okay, so this is the first lot of variables we're going to need. We're going to need some more. We've got a float for our dash speed. We've got a float for the length of the dash, how long we want it to last. We've got a float for our cooldown timer. A float for our distance between image effects. We've got a float jump divider. This will shorten the distance of the jump if we disable gravity when we're jumping to give that Celeste type dash jump that she does. Okay, so we need to add a couple more variables. Okay, so we've got a reference to our better jumping. We've got a ball for his dashing, so should you want to use animator or play some particle effects or something and you need access to know whether or not the player's dashing, we've got that available to us. We've got some floats for our dash counter and our dash cooldown. We've got a float active move speed. This will store the original move speed of the player. We've got a float to store the after image effect position. Then we need a reference to our better jumping if we want to disable it. We need a reference to the player controller. We also need a reference for the rigid body. Okay, with those done, we need to get the references to these three in the start function. So there we get the references. So better jumping equals get component better jumping. Rigid body will get the rigid body component, and the player controller will get the player controller. And then we want to check for dash. So we'll create this method in a minute. Right. Okay, so that should be all we need in our Unity based methods. So we want two methods here, one to start the dash and one to check the dash. Okay, so this is our start dash method. We're going to check if the dash cooldown counter and the dash counter are less than 0. If they are, we're going to get the current move speed of the player and set that into our active move speed variable. We're then going to set the player's move speed to our dash speed. We set our dash counter to our dash length, and if we're going to use the object pool, we're going to get our first instance from the object pool and set its position. So that's the start dash function. So if you want to pause the video and copy that out. Now we need the check dash function. Okay, so we will void check dash, and then we want a if statement. We want to check if the dash counter is greater than 0. Oh, I've messed that formatting up. I'm so butterfingered today. Right. Okay, so if dash counter is greater than 0, we're going to take away the player movement. We're going to set his dash into true. If we're going to disable better jump, we'll disable better jump here. If we're going to do a gravity jump, we'll check if it's enabled. And then if the player is jumping, we set the gravity scale to 0 and count down the timer divided by our jump divider. And if they're on the ground, then we let them run without disabling gravity tool, else we'll just count the timer down, so that will always permanently count down the timer. Okay, we then want to check if we're using the object pool, and we check the distance between the after image effects, get a new instance from the pool, and then set its position again. Okay, so that's the object pooling taken care of. And then finally we need to check if the dash counter is less than 0, we give control back to the player, we reset the player movement speed, we set our dash cooldown counter, we set his dash into false, and then if we've disabled better jumping, we'll re-enable better jumping. So that should be it for the initial if statement. Then we want one final more if statement, which will simply count down the dash cooldown timer if the dash cooldown timer is greater than 0. So we can now save that, go back up into Unity, assign our dash script to the player, I'll disable better jump, and touch wood, if I've got everything done correctly, we should be able to dash. I need to actually add it to the player controller first. So open up the player controller, jump down to our on dash function, and we need to do our check if our button's pressed down, and if it is, we start the dash. So we now need to add references at the top to our dash component, and we need to get the component. So under the controls, we check for dash, and I haven't taken the Cedarwood software stuff out of that. So let me just get rid of that. Save that. So now we just need to get the component. Okay, paste that in there, so hopefully that's our error gone. Save that. Now jump back into Unity. If we press play and run, we can do a dash. It's not dashing for very long, but that's completely up to you. I'll just maximise it again. You can't really see the dash after image effect, so I'm going to pause the video and do a build so we can check it's working properly. Okay, we're back in game, and as you can see, the dash after image is working as it should, and we can jump about. But something's not quite right with the dash, so I'll have to debug that in the next episode, because this one's getting on a little bit. I think it's probably got something to do with the better jumping. So, right, let's set our dash speed up a little bit faster, but what I forgot to do in the dash script was to grab that gravity multiplier, copy it, and then when the dash counter's below 0, we'll re-enable the gravity again. And that should fix that bug. So if we save that, jump back into Unity now. click play, and that's it with dash jumping. Okay, we can end that lesson there. I'll possibly either add wall climb or animations in the next episode, I'm not quite sure yet. Once again, please hit like and subscribe, give the video a thumbs up if you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video.